Of all the emails that I've received over the years, probably the one question I get more often than not is simply, how do I deal with a maniac who's playing every hand? Well, before I can even answer that question properly, I generally need more information on the type of maniac we're dealing with. Not all maniacs are created equal. Each maniac has his own tendencies, and some play poorly while others may have excellent instincts and card reading skills. The easiest maniac to defend against is the habitual bluffer who is a losing player over his lifetime. Here are a few basic tips to think about when facing a losing maniac. First, you want to isolate him. When the maniac raises and you have any hand that you feel is good enough to see the flop with, just re-raise him. Since we know that the maniac will be raising with hands like King 4, if you pick up a hand like Ace Jack, you should go ahead and try to play the hand heads up with him. Make sure not to give him too much credit in the hand either. A leopard can't change his spots, nor can a habitual bluffer resist the temptation to bluff in even the most obvious of situations. If you have any sort of a hand that could win in a showdown, you have to at least call your opponent down on the river. Next, you can let him bluff off his money. When you have a strong hand against this type of maniac, you should set a trap for him by playing the hand slow. An aggressive losing maniac will virtually always go for the bait when you check to him, thinking he can steal the pot from you. The more difficult maniac to play against often isn't a maniac at all. Most likely, he's fooled you into believing that he's a crazy wild man, but in fact, he's an excellent reader of cards and people, which allows him to play more hands than a typical player. Next time you're seated in a game with a maniac that seems to be destroying the game, don't be fooled by his starting hand selection. Often, a smart player will disguise his level of skill by turning over a trash hand in a situation you'd never dream of playing. For example, he might re-raise from the big blind with a hand like 7 deuce. Players who are watching this may jump the gun by assuming that this player is a total fool and has no idea what he's doing. Next, make sure to get position on him. Consistently being out of position against this type of player can be a nightmare as well as a recipe for disaster. You should still look to isolate this type of player as well, but don't be quite as liberal with the hands you choose to isolate him with. Make sure that you have a hand that plays well after the flop and will do well in a showdown. Beware of falling for the advertising trap. Often what a player like this is going to do is he's going to show a monster bluff that he was able to pull off. More often than not, he's going to show a bluff early in a session to train his opponents to pay him off when he holds a strong hand for the rest of the night, with virtually no plans of ever attempting another bluff again.